which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
United States of America, also known as the United States.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Tonight we have Tony here to speak. The Open Meetings Act is over here on the board for anybody that would like to read that. I am Mayor Mel Myers, and our city council members are Mickey Schneider, Cash Tobias, Clint Marsh, Tim Devine, and Glenda Horkey as our city clerk. Would you like to start? We'll start with you first to approve.
Ma'am?
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll
That's
open it up for questions. Anybody have questions for him or?
fine, wonderful, exciting. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tony Martinez. Come on in here, boys and girls. Come this way. I've been in the water industry for about 42 years. I've only worked recently with the state of Nebraska for about 25 years. We administer the Safe Drinking Water Act as authorized by the EPA. And because Nebraska has what they have primacy, there's 8 other field inspectors other than myself who cover the state of Nebraska to administer that Safe Drinking Water Act. And as such, you know, we require public water supply systems to take routine tests of the water quality, and we look at the quantity as well. And those folks have to be licensed, and so we do a lot of paperwork, we do a lot of record review, and we come out to these city council, town council meetings and address any concerns you may or may not have. So I'm not sure where this is going. I was invited here by the city of Sargent, and I'm not sure if there's any concerns or issues. So if you guys got any questions, I'll try to answer them without too much rhetoric. Yeah, I'm not a traditional state employee. I'm just an old backwards ranch hand, guys, and I talk to the cows.
Do you know about our water?
Pardon?
Do you know about our water?
I don't know about your, well, as far as the water quality, right now in the state of Nebraska, it's either safe to drink or it's not safe to drink. And as long as you guys are doing your routine testing, and you guys, I think, test for 87 different parameters. The main one that you're dealing with on a monthly basis is coliform bacteria. And what coliform bacteria, you know, I'll take a chew, put in more coliform bacteria in there, we're gonna have in your drinking water. Coliform bacteria in and itself is not harmful to you, but when they cook it up in the incubator, they're also looking for E. coli. And when it turns a different shade of colors, it becomes E. coli, right? So coliform bacteria in itself is just an indicator organism that something else may be harmful or present in the drinking water. So that's what we're looking for. And it seems like this time of year, hot summer, fall, grain dust, all those things come into effect to get positive coliform bacteria. In the olden times, when I was an operator, we could have 4 colonies per count. And now EPA has changed that regulation. It's either present or absent. You can't have any colonies in your water sample, in your drinking water. But and so when you got, if you should have single digits, 8s or 10s or 2s, personally, I don't get real concerned about those numbers because they're so insignificant. It's usually an operator error. Somebody opened the door, dust blew in your container and contaminated that sample. So what happens is, if you got a contaminated sample or a bad sample, a positive sample, the system has to take some repeat sampling. They do the original site, they go upstream and they go downstream and they make sure that there's no more contamination. The other thing on the revised total coliform rule is you have to go back to your wells. Whichever well was running, we want to check the source. Because the premise is, if you have a problem, you find it and you fix it. And recently, I think a couple months ago or a month and a half ago, Sargent had a positive and they had an E. coli positive. So we were up here doing what they call a level 2 assessment, basically a mini inspection of the other inspections that we do. So we're looking at your storage, we're looking at your mains, we're looking at your records, we're looking at your backflow program, looking and see what's happening. And usually in this particular case, we thought we found a smoking gun with a water main break. And everybody knows you go to the hospital, get surgery or stuff, they pump you full of antibiotics. During the surgery, they're pumping you full of antibiotics. After the surgery, they're pumping you full of antibiotics. Why? Because they're opening you up. they're exposing you to atmosphere, potential infections, right? Same thing with the water system. When you have a break, if you're not disinfecting, before, during, and after that break, of course, we don't know when we're gonna have a break, but before, during, and after, you're probably gonna get some positives within your system. So we encourage systems to go ahead and disinfect for a week or so, flush all your system out, get some clean samples. And I know the city of Sargent has always taken a proactive approach. You have what they call routine samples, you have to take them, and if they get positive, they're charged to your system, and then we come out. But they've always taken special samples ahead of the routines to make sure the water is clean. So you guys are taking, I don't know how many multiple samples, Tim, you guys are taking voluntarily that we never see, but you guys are doing that anyway, just to show good faith effort. So when you take your routine sample, it is clean. So you don't see us very often. So unless you guys call us up. So, and I don't, like I said, I don't know where this is going or anything, but overall, Sargent has been pretty good, even back when, was it Mike Chris, when he was here?
Yeah.
Chris, and even before him, I forget that guy's name.
Will Penny.
Yeah, so historically, Sargent's got good water. And if you look at the groundwater systems, you guys got 4 wells, I believe.
Yes.
And so, and I'm not sure their depth, but sand is a natural purifier anyway. So if you got a positive, it's typically Tony Martinez put the cap on the ground, or I had some water splashing around, the dogs ran across when I was taking that sample. Those coliform samples are very sensitive to the atmosphere or your environment, and or if you actually put your finger in the jar, that'll trigger a positive. So there's, and what we're trying to do is see what the water quality is on those coliform bacteria. So we're not looking at the plumbing. So when we go after Tim and say, Tim, this is a bad site. There's a dirty old faucet. You know, you had the silly fans running, circulating the air. I let the dust in when I opened the door in. You know, we're gonna get after Tim and say, you need to watch your sampling techniques on how you're doing your sampling, because all those are triggers that might cause a positive in your sample. And so when we do, come in, sir, when we do these level 2 assessments, and if Tim screwed the pooch and got a bad sample, we're gonna come out and we're gonna visit with him, and we're gonna make him show us how you took that sample. Did you remove the aerator? Did you flush that water line? Did you disinfect it? You know, did you choke it down to get a pencil stream in? Did you fill the container? What'd you do with the cap? Some guys I've had stick that cap in that pocket, and then they're doing this. Guys, don't be doing that. And inadvertently, we're all been in the rural area for the most of our lives and stuff. So in the rural, we do things differently. But when you're talking about public health, you want to be very methodical, very calculated on how you take that sample. So, I don't know. I think Sarge has done a tremendous job on staying proactive and bird dogging some of that stuff. Obviously, water main breaks that we can't control, they're gonna happen. You know, new water main construction, you know, you wanna do disinfect before, during, and after. Take 2 samples 24 hours apart, flush it out before you turn it loose. So, and that's in a nutshell kind of what we do, guys. And I don't know if you guys got any questions.
I do.
Ma'am.
So, and I'm not arguing with anything you're doing and you're testing and stuff, but I just know, I just filled up a little pool for my kids the other day, and I walked out and here they are swimming in brown water. And this happens regularly, and I did not bring my samples of brown water today, but I do have a picture of when that brown water clears and the sediment that's floating in that water, that like there for a while, I remodeled my kitchen, so newer faucets. So I thought it was water pressure, not water pressure. Took those off, put CLR, they're getting gummed up with stuff. There for a while, we were doing it twice a month. And so that sediment has to go somewhere, you know, because it's in the water. And I don't know if we're testing the brown water, but when that sets, there's that sediment. And I really don't want to have that.
Absolutely, I wouldn't either. Do you guys have a lot of iron? A lot of iron in your water? Or just
Yeah.
sediment, cast iron pipes, ductile iron?
Cast iron pipe.
Cast iron pipe.
She's right off the well.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and any town USA, you're gonna have a lot of sediment, especially on old cast, ductile iron pipe, any galvanized pipe, you're gonna have it.
I've been here for 22 years, and it's only about the last 5 that I've
The last
dealt with
5?
this. Yeah.
So, and you've talked to staff and council before, and they
I
said,
brought my water.
oh, cool, we're gonna probably budget some money and do some pigging and try to remove that sediment or something like that, you know, get a
Replace
contractor.
pipes.
Or do some additional flushing. Is everybody else having a problem with that, or just isolated? Okay, so we got a few people. Are they all in about the same proximity? So we know we probably got some old lines in there that we probably have to do additional service to, right? Well, that's good to know, that's good to know. As far as the aesthetic part of it, it can be brown, it can be look like tea, and I believe you 100%.
I got pictures of sediment.
Yeah, we got
That's
stuff
what
going on
bothers me.
down east, but, I'm not making any excuses, guys, that happens. But as long as that water quality is tested out and it's safe to drink, it might be a little discolored, but it's safe to drink. Otherwise, you're gonna know about it.
It
Reese?
seems like when you see this problem come up, Tony, this is when you have to pour it. You haven't poured it for quite a while. You get a lot of buildup on the interior of the walls, with the manganese and stuff.
Every coin has two sides, right? So the evil side of disinfecting these old mains is you're gonna get cloudy, you're gonna stir stuff up. So that's the negative impact. The plus side of it is you're disinfecting those mains. And if you can imagine all this sediment coming down this pipe, bacteria hides. It hides everywhere. So it's probably hiding underneath that layer of sedimentation, right? So as it's moving, now we're gonna get positives. So you have to keep that chlorine running, and it's gonna discolor your water, it's gonna make it cloudy until you continually flush it. And then, thanks, Reese, for that insight. So that happens with disinfection too. The chlorine could have a potential problem on what you're seeing, ma'am. And I believe you, I got pictures on my computer screen of tea water.
Well, and, you know, and it's random, maybe not one day, but it just doesn't go away. And I don't think it's always when we're flushing. Like I said the other day, I just filled up the pool and I just couldn't, and all been trying to get a pool here, and all I could see was a big fancy new pool with brown water going everywhere.
Yeah, that doesn't be good for the taxpaying public, does it? Yeah, repaying, I agree. Well, I'm not here to administer anything other than talk about rules and regulations, and whatever you guys decide to do, that's your job. We might make a recommendation, though, if you got an area of town that's got a lot of sedimentation or discolored water after you disinfect, pigging might be the answer. The problem with pigging, we run a styrofoam vessel down the 4-inch pipe or whatever it is, and we scour, the contractor will scour that out under pressure and then blows it out. And it's amazing the blackness you get out of those lines, especially if they're old lines. The downside of that is if the lines are fairly weak or fairly old, you might have risk of blowing those mains out as well, cracking them. So, and that's one option. So the other thing is, I don't think this works, but this is what the state preaches. They say directional flushing. If your water's always going this way, isolate some valves and force that water going the other direction so it scours that out and blows it out the fire line. And I don't know, I've worked with water pipe. It seems like no matter how hard I flush pipe, there's always a sedimentation layer on the bottom anyway, unless you physically get something in there to push it through. Follow me? That's all personal opinion. Like I said, we can recommend things from the state, but we don't get into obviously managing your program. But we can tell you how bad you are, smile and leave and send you a letter. That's what we do. So.
But as a whole, I think the restrictions and what we have to qualify for, or the guidelines, I should say, they've changed, right? So when we're talking about our water, it's not as in bad a shape per se as maybe some people think that it is, because our guidelines are much stricter than they used to be. We are like any other city, I'm assuming. I've seen like Mendon and other places have had issues. Like, is there anything comparable to that, or can you?
Across the nation, United States, the infrastructure is deteriorating, especially in rural America. And I'm not a politician, I'm not gonna get into politics, but the money's getting tighter and tighter for infrastructure projects. What you're saying is valid. I'm not sure about Mendon, but you know, the systems are getting older. We're not spending any money to put in new mains. We're not spending any money to look for new wells. And if we do, it's at an emergency situation. And we become reactive rather than proactive. Some communities, Beatrice, that's a large community, they have their own crew, and they're always putting in about a mile of main each and every year. So when Steve Kelly was down there, and he retired 2 years ago, so I'm not sure where they're at in the shuffle now. But if you got some old mains, obviously you're gonna look at water main replacement. What's that mean for the ratepayer? It's gonna go up, right? Somebody's gonna have to pay for this, or, you know, and maybe you can do 2 blocks at a time if you have to replace some mains. And, you know, everybody's in the same boat, so there's not enough money to go around. The infrastructure's getting older, that's a fact, guys. But somewhere down the road, management has to, I'm not saying you're not, I'm just talking out of, management has to step up, we have to set aside some money and put in the coffers there so we can do some of these projects. And I'm not sure where you're at in your budget, whether it's good, bad, or black, or in the red, I don't know, so. And it's easy for me to come in here and talk, or tell you guys what you guys already know, but, you know, I don't live here, right? So, I live in Solon, Nebraska, born and raised there for 66 years. After I was born, they tore the hospital down. They didn't want another one of me there. But in Solon in 81, and I started there in 83, in 81, 82, they put in a brand new water system. So 8-inch mains all the way looped around town inside. And I don't know how they had a bond, they passed a bond, and I was pretty young, so I wasn't too into it. But when I walked into that in 83, it was a piece of cake for me. I mean, we had a couple blocks that were old mains, and they've since replaced those blocks, and we got clean water. We don't, you know, brown water, tinted water, iced tea water, yeah. I agree with you, I understand.
Bathed in it, and I don't like that either.
So, and I'm not sure how Sargent is configured. We said we got some old mains in there, and I don't know if you, on your 2-10-year planning on the inspections we do, I think you guys have put it in your plans to try to upgrade some of the mains. I'm not sure, I should have probably looked, and I did not. And as far as the parameters, we're disinfecting, we look at those disinfection residual records. The maximum contaminant level that you can have for chlorine is 4 parts per million. That's a whole number. You guys are putting in 0.2 to 0.5, right at less than 1/2% of 1, right? So it's very minimal number to try and kill that bacteria. And what kills coliform bacteria is the chlorine dosage and the contact time. So if you don't have the contact time, you don't have that dosage up at least above 0.2, 0.2, you're not getting any disinfection access. You have to run at least 0.3, 0.5 to kill some. And then we're not even to the whole number of 1 yet. And the MCL, the maximum contaminant level, is 4. And I guarantee you, if you get it up to 2, you people are gonna let Tim know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, and that's another barometer that you guys can use to measure if Tim's doing his job or not. And the other thing, you guys can go in and talk to Tim or go in and stuff, say, hey, can we see those records? It's
can
public
see 'em.
records, you know? And, yeah, now, my first order of business is when the people call me, they call from all over, and they said, well, what'd the operator say? Well, I didn't talk to him or her yet, because I wanted to remain anonymous. Obviously, nobody wants to remain anonymous here because we got a big issue, right? So we're all here, so we want to hear what was going on. I didn't know there was any real concerns here, guys, to be honest with you.
I think what people are trying to ask is there some other things besides the E. coli that we need to be concerned about in our water? Because there's been a lot of talk about, I would say arsenic maybe was one of the things
someone created a Facebook page.
Oh, geez, okay.
I don't think it even exists anymore, but it came out with bam information, you know, and nobody knew who was doing it, and it had a lot of information. I don't even know that anybody could understand what all of it said. Very professional looking. It looked like some corporation came in and they were like, these people are terrible. And I think a lot of people saw it, and it was, I didn't look at it very much because I didn't know who the source was, and I'm on the city council, so I felt like it was, I won't say it was rubbish, but
Misinformation.
it felt like it was just someone trying to stir the pot, which it did. And so hence this. That is why, because of the reaction to that information, it looked sort of like the water quality standards, they get sent out in the city bills every
Every year.
once a year. You know, so it's that bit of information. But then it was like just all kinds of stuff and someone's opinion about it. And yes, it looks like, because you don't understand what all of those minerals are, all of the elements that are
She
in the.
brought water samples.
Yeah, here's my drinking water.
Yeah.
Tim, this is yours. Where's that? Just right out of your kitchen sink?
Yeah, out of my tap. I put filters in. I spent over $2,000 putting in filtration system.
I was gonna ask, does that help?
There's
Because I
lots of
said,
small
yeah,
solids
that's
in there.
good
I
help.
don't know, probably.
I like it.
Yeah, that, you guys all see this?
They've seen it.
They've seen it.
Yeah, we've
I've
been
been
here
to their
before,
house.
it's not the first time.
And so I don't think they're not the same issue.
No,
This is
this is not E.
real,
coli.
and we have
This is-
known about
Yeah.
this, and we have talked about it, and I never get it, never have had it at my house. So it's that kind of random. You may, well, you're close to a well, because you're close to the school well, right?
Yeah.
Close to the
Closest
school.
one, I don't know if it's the one near.
But I mean, they all feed all of us, don't they?
Okay.
Right, so,
You have floaties in your drinking water. And the state says your water's still good.
yeah.
Yeah, I get it, I get it. Getting back to your question, but, because I don't wanna forget about you. Arsenic, the two things you need to be really concerned about is high nitrate, elevated nitrate levels, and E. coli bacteria, the coliform, because those are both acute contaminations, and you react within 24 hours of that, because it can kill somebody. Ma'am?
Sir, I just have a question on, we have communities around here, Burwell
Yeah?
and Broken Bow, and when you go into their cities, and I know they have old pipes too, and we all do, or a lot of us do, but how can they have, we are an approved drinking, a clean drinking water community? How can they do that? I mean, I'm just, because Burwell has that when you have to come in, Broken Bow has that. What do they do to?
What do they do
They
different?
must have some of the same issues as we do with old
Oh,
pipes.
yes, very much so, and right now, I'm not familiar, I know, pick on McCook, because that's a little further away.
Yeah.
They have the same stuff, and we've been on, well, we can't, some of this stuff is non-regulatory. It takes you people to get on the city council or to put pressure on city council, hey, we're gonna have to do this, we have to upgrade some of our water system. But in McCook, they got brown water, they're disinfecting, and they have continuous disinfection, and so they have certain blocks that they have to go out there, flush every week to try and alleviate some of that stuff. And their other plan of attack is to replace some of them old mains. Pat Favor down there, I don't know that I'm well liked down there, because we kind of tell them what to do, and then said, you gotta get a handle on this. But ultimately, we can't, from the state perspective, we can't tell you to replace those mains because they're old. That's city councils. But you're having a lot of problems. As long as this is a cop-out, as long as it meets the state's minimum requires for testing, we can't do a thing.
And we could probably put up that same sign.
That's what I was just gonna say.
It's passed. We just gotta buy one.
So here's another
And
question.
convince a
So,
few people.
remembering what I said about that, that caused a lot of consternation about our water, and then people wouldn't drink it, or they wouldn't let their kids take a bath because of that information, that we have arsenic or bromide or whatever kind of thing was in there. Obviously, I would like that dispelled, like, we are testing for that. If
Yes.
the water wasn't, if those things were at a dangerous level,
That
we
well-
wouldn't
the
have a
well would-
well.
The well would be shut down.
Yes, so that is just the facts, as far as those things go.
Yeah,
Some of those numbers that was on there is way, way above your parts per million compared to what the state would
Oh,
even.
the book face stuff
Yep.
type thing. You know, let me use another system. Gotham, Nebraska, they had some E. coli positive, and they were doing a lot of main construction. Whoever it was got to the book face first, I'm not on book face, tweet, twat, mega, Xbox, whatever that. I use my phone for calling in and receiving calls and calling out. That's what I use my phone for. I'm not on any of that other stuff. I use a Big Chief tablet, #2 pencil. For you boys and girls that are younger than that, you know, it's a notebook, not a tablet. Anyway, aside from Gotham, Nebraska, and so the people there, some of the townspeople, they were just having a tremendous negativity on that, Facebook, whatever. And so they called our people, and I said, I don't know, you're gonna have to talk to my supervisor, and our supervisor went to the PIO, Public Information Officer, and their advisement was, if you didn't get something out the first time out of the starting block, don't engage in back and forth rhetoric. Go talk to your city council, go talk to your staff, you know, the people that are trained and they're professionals that know about your drinking water. Talk to them first, and then do whatever, but that's nasty. I don't believe in any of that. It's all, my opinion, it's all propaganda, it's just a bunch of gossip. People put stuff out there, they're not accountable. Let them come up to my face and tell me that, right? Well, I'm from the south side of town, but no, it's a real problem because the first liar wins. And I'm not, you know, I got my neighbors, my wife's not on it, but my kids are all on that stuff. They're always doing this. And like I said, I'm a little bit old fashioned, so I don't do that. So I can't help you. Yeah, Reese.
Under a lot of your testing that has to be pulled, when you get wrote up for a violation, it's usually half of what the main concern is really gonna be anyway, or less. Like your nitrates, if you're over 0.5.
Yeah, what Reese did is a pretty good example. The MCL, we use a lot of acronyms to state, the maximum contaminant level for nitrates is 10 parts per million. If you're testing your wells, and if you exceed half that action level, which is 5 or greater, then you have to test quarterly. They expedite, or they amplify that, I guess. It's an escalation policy. Because nitrates, like I said, if you have a nursing mother or compromised immune system or children, you know, that have baby formula, what nitrogen does, we all know, it robs the oxygen out of the bloodstream. And babies can't cope with that. Us adults can, unless you have a compromised immune system. So nitrates is very critical to the drinking water program. And I'm not sure what your nitrate level is here, Tim. Are you guys yearly testing, or?
We got one well, it just says for 3 years out, quarterly. I think that's a part of the school well.
The school well is high in nitrates. Do you know what the MCL is on that?
Not right off, I don't.
Okay, so it's
Gwenda's
over.
got it.
Depends on what Donnie plants there.
Yeah.
If he
Okay.
plants corn there one year, it's high, next year he plants beans there, it's low.
Okay, it sucks it out and puts it back in.
4.9.
Huh?
4.9
Yeah,
is our
4.9 on the
highest.
school well?
Well, that's what our average is for all 4 wells for the year.
Okay, so that school well is probably a little bit higher because you're doing quarterly monitoring on that. So those are 2 parameters. The arsenic, I want to get to that. I forget which president it was. One president walked out, the other president come in, and the standard was 80 parts per billion. And then, so modern America was saying, you're gonna let us drink arsenic contaminated water, because arsenic in itself is bad, right? If you drink arsenic. Well, 80 parts per billion, so that's where the standard was. And over in China, they did some research and stuff, they were drinking 180 parts per billion, so we're at 80. But they lowered the standard because the president couldn't take the heat and say, well, you're gonna let my little grandkids drink arsenic water, so they lowered the standard. And that there's 2 sides to that story too, but you know, being the state regulator, we're gonna enforce what the standard is. It doesn't matter what coulda, woulda, shoulda happened, did happen, and here's where we're at now. So arsenic is a chronic contaminant, same with uranium. That means if you ingest it over 70 years and drink 10 gallons of water, you may develop cancer, right? And the other 2 components, the E. coli and the nitrate, like I said, they're acute contaminants. They're gonna affect your body real quick, so.
Yep.
How do you get arsenic out of your water?
Treatment?
With chlorine, or what do you have to
No,
do?
you have to have full-fledged treatment.
Okay, so to have a full system, what would it take for the city of Sargent? I mean, if it was gonna make those people feel better, because there's no other way, right?
Ma'am, yes, if you want to shy away from treatment as much as possible, number one, it costs you big money. It's a reoccurring cost. You never get out of it. Once you start it, you never get out of it. The other thing, if you're going to utilize your 4 existing wells, you'd have to spend a bunch of money to tie all those wells together to get them in a central location so you can run filters in there. Have a filtration system, whether it's ion exchange or whatever contaminant, different treatment process take out different things, okay? So you're gonna have oh geez, you're gonna have a lot of dollars, millions of dollars, I can't even begin to guess.
Millions and millions.
The other thing is, we shy away from treatment, because if you're gonna have problems, if you're having problems with your wells, and one well is really, really bad, we encourage you to look for a new source, maybe $500,000, which is gonna be it's gonna be a lot cheaper than treatment. I gotta clean myself up, so, sorry. But it sounds like the source isn't the problem. It sounds like the old mains is what I'm hearing, the sedimentation in the mains possibly. And I'm not saying that this will work, but I would think, I would have a plan. I don't know what you guys would do. I would think you would probably have a plan of attack, maybe every spring pig out 6 or 7, 8 blocks and flush them out really good, disinfect it, or maybe even figure on replacing 2 blocks every 5 years of old main or something.
When you pig a line, you obviously gotta open the line up, which is not always good for your water systems, correct?
What's that?
When you pig a line,
You pig a
anytime
line.
you open up your water system is bad, because you're opening up yourself.
Yeah,
for
but
bad.
what did we say at the onset?
Yep.
Before and after and during, right?
Yep.
So, yeah,
Yep.
and you're gonna stir some stuff up, but hopefully you can trap that enough that you'll flush a lot of that stuff out. Guys, I was on a couple pigging crews where we put in a 6-inch stainless steel pipeline right before I worked for the village. And we pigged 6 miles of 6-inch line, and it was amazing on the crap that came out of it. 2x4s, welding rods, whatever you can imagine. Contractor had gloves, and it was blacker than black. And they picked it several times, and finally it started getting cleaned up. And I can only envision what's the sediment and the crap that's in your water lines. Plain and simple. There's nobody. You've been in some of them storage facilities, and the water towers, where I have. You go up there and you look. I've seen an old cistern. We went up there and looked with the guy, and we opened the lid, and we didn't have to open it too far because there was some horse sticking out. There were dead deer there. People are drinking that water. So, but it's cleaned up since that. That was 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Okay, so I just want to clarify one thing. So this sediment in the water thing is, there's no denying that that's there. Okay, so fixing the water lines, doing this pigging thing, those things could possibly alleviate that.
Possibly, yes.
As far as those other things that are in our water, because they're in our water when we suck it out of the ground, those water lines, would they have any bearing on those things in our water?
Well, I'm not a chemical engineer, but arsenic and uranium are natural deposits. What's kind of unnatural is nitrogen. So, you know, there's always a chemical reaction going on within your water mains, whether it's PVC or cast or ductile cement line pipe. There's always some kind of reaction. And I think they're using the mainstay piping configurations is because they're pretty neutral. They'll handle the water. Nobody wants to hear my horror stories, but I'll tell you this. At City North Platte, they had some PVC pipe, polybutylene pipe going into a motel. And I forget, the benzene level was past the earth level, unreasonable risk to human health. It was past the earth level. And when they dug that up, and there was basically gas coming out of the drinking water fountains. And so they dug up that line and they put the dirt pile on the side. They lit a match, and that fire, the dirt was burning. It was so contaminated. And that was just from the leaching in of the petroleum product into that polybutylene line. So we've seen some ugly, nasty things before, but I can't explain a lot of different things. I know the regs, guys, and that's all I know. I got a lot of opinions, and I try to shy away from them. But
Okay, but I do just want to say one more time.
yes,
The things that are in the water when they enter our water system, arsenic, barium, chromium, fluoride, those things they're in the water. They're not in the pipes.
correct.
Okay.
They're naturally occurring.
Okay, they're naturally occurring. So I just wanted, that's one thing, just so you know that.
Yeah.
Even if we replaced every water line in town,
You're still gonna.
those elements will still exist in the water because they just exist.
Right.
Okay.
They're naturally occurring.
Thank you. So that,
Yes, I apologize.
no, I just wanted to,
SOCs, VOCs.
You know, and you guys, you had this, and you guys talked about it briefly earlier. Here's your water quality report, right? The CCR, Consumer Confidence Report. You're supposed to get them each and every year prior to July 1st. And you post it on the wall, and you read through all this numbers and stuff. it's foreign to me. If you look at this, it's foreign to me. So what do? I go downtown and talk to the city guys. Then the guys are paid professionals. Hey, explain this to me. So Tim says, well, shit. What do you want to know? He says, well, shoot, Tony, I don't know what this is. So he calls the state and say, hey, I need some explanation. That's what we do. We help you understand what's out there. But Tim should know what the levels are, because it has maximum contaminant levels on there, maximum goal levels.
Yep.
And it
And
should
we
explain.
cannot change those. The city cannot change those.
No,
So
you
what
can't.
you get
Yep.
is factual information. We cannot change those.
Remember Joshua, when he was chiseled in stone, man?
Yep.
Thank you.
They're standards, and the state of Nebraska cannot change those standards. That comes from EPA. Lead copper result, because of Flint, Michigan, they have knee-jerk reaction, everybody had to get on board. We had to do things differently. And what happened there, a lot of things happened, but they changed their water source and they didn't treat it properly. So Congress said we're gonna have tighter restriction on the lead copper rule. So now we do got tighter restriction on lead. I don't know that they needed to be changed. So now everybody's testing, everybody has to do an inventory or did an inventory on where the lead's at. You know, back east, maybe on the west coast, or basically the eastern seaboard, they had a lot of problems with lead. That was all new stuff over there at that time when they put it in. Geez, now I forgot where I was going with my story. I get to talking too much. But anyway, so some of them things, we can't control the state of Nebraska, because if it was state of Nebraska, we filed suit against the United States government to keep the lead rule the same. We lost, obviously. It's coming through. So those are set by EPA, some pencil pushers in DC and stuff, and it's all BAT, best available technology. That's what the regs are based on, best available technology at the time. So, yeah.
Rhonda wanted, Rhonda
Yeah,
had a
do
question.
you have a resource somewhere, so in-home filtration systems, trying to find what you should get to help. If you have concerns, whether it's sediment, lead, arsenic, whatever, you wanna do an in-home type system. Where can you go to find that information? Cause you start calling people who sell these systems, and they wanna sell you the Cadillac, and honestly, there are a lot of ways to filter your water that don't cost much at all. And I found it was incredibly difficult to find information on this. And I did find it, and I solved my problem, and a person can solve their problems rather cheaply, but.
A valid point, and you know what, yes, I agree with you. The salesmen are that, they're there to sell you a product, right? Even when they talk about soft water, they put so many drops in there, you got 485 grains, oh my gosh, you got really hard water. So they convince you, because we don't know as a general public what is good or bad, right? So they convince you. So my first thing, I would always go to your staff first, go to Gwenda, go to Tim, and they're gonna say, well, I don't know. Well, let me call, Gwenda's gonna say, I'm gonna call the clerk over there at Broadwater, because they got all point of use devices for all their residents. What are they using? The other one I would call is Hagler, Nebraska, talk to the clerk down. What are you guys using for point of use devices, filtration system? Take out, what are you guys taking out? There's a lot of systems, and if you don't know, call Lincoln, Andy Kale, or monitoring. I'm in field services, there's 8 of us out here. There's monitoring compliance, they're the ones that send you all the letters about nitrate, arsenic, whatever else, culture bacteria. Those people know what they've told other people on what point of use devices to use, or what kind of filtration system that you actually need. Because you're right, the salespeople will sell you a bill of goods, and
It is incredibly difficult to find out what you should be getting for yourself. And you need a neutral source to get that information.
Yes.
Because for me, the hours that I spent researching this about drove me crazy.
oh, I believe you.
And I feel bad for anyone wanting to solve their problem, because you can do it. If you have concerns in your house, you can put a point of use filtration system in and take care of it.
Bringing it real close to home, somebody sold my mom and dad a bill of goods about 10, 12 years ago, and I lit up like a Christmas tree. Why didn't you guys talk to me? I don't know, it was pretty expensive, about $1,200–1,400 or whatever, just for the first product, and then thereafter recurred. Since that time, they've taken out. Sutherland, Nebraska is where I live. We have God's best water. We have the High Plains Aquifer underneath there is Overlaw Aquifer. And then, like I said, sand is a natural purifier. And we're talking about different contaminants. Groundwater in itself is different than surface water, right? In surface water, Omaha, Chadron, Crawford, some of them surface water treatment plants, you get different kinds of bugs. You get algae, diatoms, all kinds of other growth. They're not indigenous to groundwater. Groundwater is pretty pure, guys. I mean, you got the natural contaminants, quote unquote, because they're not contaminants. God gave us those, that's what we're supposed to drink, right? It's natural, but I don't know. So there's an inherent difference between surface water and groundwater. Groundwater systems in itself aren't bad. It's usually the piping, the plumbing, the mechanics we're using, the operator that doesn't probably take a sample. You know, I feel very fortunate, very blessed that we live in the state of Nebraska underneath the world's largest aquifer. You get preachy, sorry. But anyway, we got good water, good drinking water. So our infrastructure maybe is not so good. Proof is in the pudding. But so we gotta work at that, but our sources are pretty good, I would say.
Anybody have any questions?
Sir?
Are there any plans to replace any of the mains in here? Town?
I don't know of any, but I've only been on here short term.
We budgeted having it before, and just, you know, you budget. It was about 5-6 years ago, I think it was, we priced, a block was $90,000 without any hookups, and just a block of, and that was, we've got roughly 7 miles of mains. So, and that was, I think the 9,000, it was like 100,000 with service lines hooked into them, replace the service lines, and you gotta add fire hydrants in there, some places, fire hydrants like, with the valves, like 14 grand, you know, so, something you need to think about. So, we do have some lanes in town that are 110 years old, plus, old as the water tower, so, a lot of them are leaded spigot on. When I fixed out west of town, we had spigot and had a lead around it that you fixed. Yeah. There was one just down the block, about another 20 foot from there that I fixed about 10 years ago. So, yeah.
Tim,
Yes.
we had some people back here that are hard.
Oh, I'm
Stand
sorry.
here. Do
No.
you think maybe standing up for something?
Oh, we
maybe
can.
you could project yourself a little?
All I said was.
I know.
I don't speak that loud. All I know is we've got roughly 7 miles of mains in town. And we budgeted before to try to do some main work. And it gets, you know, basically set aside because everything else happens. And it was like 5 or 6 years ago, it was like 90,000 for one block. So, and that didn't include the service lines or fire hydrants on. So, I mean, it's just, it'll be like, Tony says they, what, two blocks a year, some people do?
Yeah.
So, you know, if we could start doing 2 blocks a year. There's been talk about maybe doing 5th Street, we mentioned that on our 1 and 6 year street plan. And, there's a main up there on 5th Street. So if you're gonna tear the street out and redo it, redo the main while you're in there. It has about 4 fire hydrants on it, approximately 30, I think it is 30 houses on that main. It'd help that into town. So we've talked about it. When Reese was here, we talked about it even before that, so. But it's about, you know, just like things happen, things doesn't always get accomplished.
I think your 5th Street, your 2nd Street's probably your 2 main streets you wanna look at first.
Yep. You know, I know I talked to Larry Steele here a few months ago on the 1 and 6 year street plan, and he's talking about that street on 5th Street actually. And I said, well, we're in there, might as well put some mains and fire hydrants on it, and he agreed wholeheartedly on it, so. Yes?
I've got a question now. You test at the wells, right?
I test wells, I get a sample kit from the state of Nebraska to test wells for volatile organic compounds, synthetic organic compounds, arsenic. I
That's
check.
mandatory.
It's mandatory. Yep, I get a list every year of what they want tested.
Do you test at the end of the mains to compare?
Well, no, I don't, because it's not required. What I do is I have 5 places in town I test. In town, I test at the school, I test at the city office, I test at Gwenda's house, I test at Trotter's.
Sargent.
And
The
the
irrigation?
school. Yeah, irrigation district.
So that was my other question.
Yep.
That's kind of an isolating
Yeah, you go all over town, that's why they're spread out, so you get different samples from all over town. And then when the state requires me to, they'll send me boxes of samples. I get crap ton of samples. I mean, a lot of them. And they usually have them on a quarterly basis. They'll have a list of stuff that I have to do. Is like the first quarter of 2025, I did about 20 samples for a lot of the wells. The second quarter, I did another 5 or 6, I think it was. We got the one well that runs a little high in nitrates. It's at the school, but it depends on what he plants in there from year to year. Because when he plants corn, actually levels up. You can see it. You can see it in your records. And then next year's down when he plants soybeans in there.
And testing isn't new. Reese probably tested
Yep.
water when he first started at the city, and however
Yep.
many years ago that was. I mean, they've tested water forever.
Yep. So I mean, it's.
You had water back then?
Oh, yeah. Right out of the windmill, you know.
I went to just a quick stupid story. I went to a water class in Albion to get some continuing education hours, and there was a gentleman in there. His water license was number 90.
Wow.
My number's 4601.
Mine is over 5,000.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
Is that from Arcadia?
You know, he's an old boy from Albion up there.
Oh, okay.
It's in that area. They didn't issue a water license until like 1979, somewhere in there, wasn't it?
Yeah, 77, 78.
Yep. So had to be that low on the list, he's still working. So,
The other thing, I just got a question for you, sir. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. How often are you doing some flushing at these?
I flush my dead ends on my fire hydrants.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where anybody lives, but like these folks,
Yep, there's,
how, monthly, quarterly, yearly?
try to do about quarterly.
Quarterly, quarterly is usually about the stretch of that maintenance unless you got some real problematic issues. And then, like I said, City of McCook, they're out there all the time. And that's all they're doing. Now we're talking more manpower, more dollars and cents being spent on flushing mains. And it's just a Band-Aid, right? We all know that, so.
I would flood my water tower once a month. Just,
Your water tower is a dinosaur, but it's in good shape for a dinosaur. So I think, Reese, we talked about that when you were here. I said, oh, man, I think getting older than me, but, yeah. So the infrastructure part of it, and obviously it can't happen overnight. And I hate looking at this water, the water's safe to drink. Am I gonna drink that? No, no, no.
Have we gotten any pigging done or had a quote on
no,
pigging?
it takes quite a bit. You gotta open up the main at one end. And basically expose the main and just.
You start, yeah, you know, you'd have to find.
Like a line stop on it and just go.
Yeah, or get your contractor involved in whatever they do, and them contractors will lie to you, I'll tell you that, so you gotta really bird dog and make sure they follow. The state offers you the minimum regulatory requirements, and because of the regulatory requirements, here's another big player, 10 state standards. These are standards that we follow from 10 states that have put these standards together. So you would disinfect before, during, and after. You flush your mains out, you take 2 special samples 24 hours apart, make sure they're clean. And them contractors are super chlorinate those mains so they get their clean samples. And then they'll leave town, tell that warning, never see them again. And then when you take your first sample again, it's positive because they didn't clean that main out good enough. So you gotta be cognizant, you gotta be aware of that. So, and I've been a contractor by trade all my life, so I'm attacking myself, so.
More questions?
Are there grants out there for this kind of stuff?
You know what? Steve McNulty is in charge of the SRF, State Revolving Fund loan process. Grants are going by the wayside, and I don't know, Glenda or Tim can get a hold of the financial people. We have a whole crew, a different agency, or same agency, but a whole department of financial people. The NRD, sometimes they have some funds available. I mean, it may be $10,000 here, $10,000 here, but nothing real significant that I'm aware of. But first thing to do is pick up the phone, start calling, sending some emails, and stay on them guys. We have a security grant out there available now, and that's a $10,000 one. That's a grant. You come up with $1,000, we'll give you $9,000 to put up motion detectors, chain link fencing, doors, sampling stations if you need them. You you gotta stand in line, you gotta fill out the application, that need survey you get every year, you gotta fill that out to be eligible for that. And that's free money, and I encourage every small town in the USA or Nebraska to get that. 62% of water systems in Nebraska are less than 500 population. 30% are less than 5,000. So you guys do the math. The rest are the big cities, Fremont, McCook, North Platte, whoever.
So, speaking of funding, we've got this lead copper, the city's supposed to have their site identified by November of 2027.
Yeah.
And that's our side of it. And so, as far as funding goes for that, where do we get it? I just can't pull off and just go and start locating all these, you know what I'm saying? I said something to Dave one time about it, and he just didn't really know, you know. How they gonna do this when a lot of these towns can't afford to even go ahead and check the other side of their copper, because we've gotta abide by that.
The state can answer is, look at your water rates. And I apologize, that's the only answer I can give you. Look at your water rates. Have you done a water rate study? Nebraska Rural Water, if you remember them, they will come out and do a water rate study for you.
We did it 2 years ago.
Did too. So are you right there within what they projected, or?
I think so.
Yeah, we're pretty close.
Yep.
We're not as high as what some cities are.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you guys all have to live here. You guys, I mean, yeah, so nobody can tell you guys what to do, how to run your town, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Tony, stay home.
Yeah, cash easy.
Well, but you know, it's just one of the problems that's gonna be rising here pretty soon.
Has this been going on for years and years and years, or is it just service?
I've noticed it,
I'd
so
say
it's
5.
been 3 or 4 years ago that it started getting really bad, and,
Around 5 years ago.
yeah,
It's been a while.
and I just take care of it in my house.
So what do you guys just think has happened? Just, I mean, you guys got a finger on the handle of what's happened, or why?
Well, I wanted to clean that out, so it, what kind of water softener do you put in? Of course, you can't drink soft water. And then do you use a polishing system, RO? Everyone's gonna be different, so you have to know the different systems, and you gotta choose what's best for you. And that's what we did. We chose what works for our house.
Sure, yeah.
But that may not work for someone else's house. And that's what I mean about needing information that people can go and look at and then try to understand what it is they're trying to solve.
Yeah.
And you can solve it at your house. And it's not terrible expensive after you go through the initial investment. The maintenance is nothing. Cheaper than having the city build a filtration system, let me tell you.
Well, and like I said, in the case of Broadwater and the village of Hagler, they're small communities too. They elected to go with point-of-use devices at every connection because they couldn't afford a treatment plant. They couldn't afford a new source, a new well. So that's what they elected to do. So monitor compliance staff know down there in Lincoln on what devices they're using, or you can call the clerks and talk to those folks to so that way Gwenda or staff, whoever, they can have some generic information for you, not tell you what contractor to go or who to go with. And my brother-in-law's a good one, and he sells the best there. So you don't want any of that. The other thing I'll say about filtration systems is we don't allow the city personnel to take coliform samples out of anything that's filtered or water softeners. And there's a big reason for that. They have filtration systems. And oddly enough, the filters, all they do is trap and harbor bacteria. So we don't want these guys, city sergeant, get false positives, taking them from a filtered water system because of those filters. And then the other thing, if you do the maintenance, 10 state standard says you pull something out, you disinfect the inside, swab everything, newly replaced parts with Clorox. Put it together, take a special sample. I guarantee you those contractors don't do that when they do the maintenance. Or Tony Martinez doesn't do it at home when he does that. I don't have one, but. So there's a lot of variables in there. As far as the water quality, it's safe to drink. And if it wasn't safe to drink, the city of Sargent could not sell it to the customers. Or if they did, you would know about it. We have high nitrates. We're providing bottled water. There's a pallet of water down at Fire Hall or whatever. Here's your little gift card to get 10 gallons a day or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways to administer your program. So seriously, and I apologize for talking about personal stuff, because I'm just here for the regulatory requirements. That's all I know, that's all I do. So.
Anybody else?
Can we trust the fact that if we buy a filtering system, that it is filtering?
That's up to the filtering.
Well, that depends on what you buy.
If it was state regulated and we made you guys put in point of use devices, you would be testing it periodically to make sure that that filter was working, make sure it did what it was supposed to be doing. So on the state regulatory side, yeah, you would know it's doing it. On the private side, it's private, I don't know.
Yeah, I would like to know if this has gone on for a number of years, so I just wanna know, because I don't know, what kind of progress, since everybody knows that we've had this problem, what kind of progress have we made over, say, 5 years of trying to do anything different?
Besides flushing.
Besides
The
flushing.
flushing stuff, yeah, we flushed the hydrants and it's stayed the same, pretty much. We just flush the hydrants and that's about all I really can do, you know, so. I don't know what else, I don't know what else to tell you. I flush hydrants quarterly or overflow the water tower. You know, I do everything that he requires me to do. So, and if there would be a big problem, he would be here and other officials would be here also on me, you know?
Yeah.
So I mean, I drink it, so I'm not drinking it now, but I drink the water.
Well, I just wondered, is there any kind of, over 5 years, say, has there ever been any kind of a plan to go forward with?
The plan
Yeah.
is that street, and when we
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah.
doing that with Miller and Associates,
Yes,
right?
yeah, we talked about a plan here just, was it, about like October, I think it was, somewhere in there. Where, to work on at least one main on that street of Fifth Street, which is on the west side of the school. Clear up the school and around. The system here loops around, you know, I mean, it just continuously loops. You gotta shut off like 5 valves to get one place isolated. So,
That'd be like Moyer's house, that'd be like by your house, right?
yep. Yeah, that'd be that block, buddy.
Yep.
So, and we've talked about that. I know it was
I
Larry at
think
the time, so.
Right, and I think we just kind of collectively thought that it made sense to start on it then, when we start on the street, because it's already opened. That saves money, we're already on the project. And that would be a good time to start on that.
Instead of turning it back up twice. So,
When is that supposed to be?
oh,
Or we
I don't have a date.
we don't
I don't know.
so,
We can work on that, though, we can find out, but we don't have a date.
we don't have a date. We can work on it, so.
No, you did not.
And then Second Street be the other one, the other main, so,
Where are all the mains?
in the street.
They're roughly 7 miles of them, kinda.
Like around town.
There's 4 wells and every well has mains coming off and it's all sort of tied in a circle.
Where
because
are
there's-
where are they? Where are like the wells? Yeah, I don't even know.
There's a well out in west end of town out by Mickey's, a little block building out there.
Right by the
There's one up by
school.
the schoolhouse.
Oh, yeah, the well, huh?
And then there's one straight up Second Street, till you can't go no more. There's one at the park by the tennis
North of
courts.
O.J. Johnson's house.
Oh.
You keep going up there, there's a dead end there up there, well. There's one on the north side of the tennis courts.
So yeah, it's like all the people that are up there and closest to the wells, it seems like, that are having the sediment problems.
And
It also
Tammy gets
depends,
it, but
I
my
mean-
mom and dad don't. I mean, they have, but it's not, I don't think
I've
it's-
asked Tom several times.
Do you have soft water?
Jerry doesn't have much of an
They have- I
issue.
mean, they do have-
JD
they had
does.
Culligan.
Yeah, mom and dad don't really.
I'll flush down there, I'll flush the, right there at Joanne Myers. There might be a little, about maybe 5 minutes of just a little bit of ugly. And it clears up. I let it run for 30 minutes, you know, I mean, it's just, so.
It just sounds random.
Yeah.
It seems kind of random.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Mary.
Listening to all of this, doesn't it come down basically to the city office having the money
Yes.
to do these things that need
Yes.
to be done? Do we need to go higher? Is it wash they have to stop hauling their.
But you're saying the water is okay though, so we can't really go
Yeah.
anywhere else.
But the pipes out.
Oh, I mean, I know you're saying this.
And that is the biggest problem, is having enough money in the coffers to cover these repairs.
And let me say this,
It falls
so,
on any one person's shoulder is what I'm saying.
right, right,
It's,
collectively.
it's the way life is, and you're right, the infrastructure in the whole country is bad.
Yeah.
Basically, you're budgeting, when you budget for this stuff, you're budgeting for just Band-Aids. You can't, you don't.
You're never gonna find enough
No.
budget to do 7 miles of main.
Well, the metering deal, that was in your time, I mean, that cost us quite a lot, when you mandatory put meters in everyone's houses, didn't that?
That was
Yeah,
before.
That was a sewer project.
Okay.
That's cause of sewer grant, that was all, you know, in the.
I'm just saying, when you budget, you can't budget enough money to start putting mains in. You're gonna have to
Right.
figure a different source to come around. Cause when the end of the year is over off your budget year, you can't rattle much money out of it. It's pretty well spent.
So what needs to happen, like, to replace some of these things? You're saying we just need to
I mean,
bring
they're
in
not,
water
I mean,
portion
you
of our
mentioned
bills?
pigging, pigging's an option, that's definite, but we have no idea without
Yeah.
the contractor and a bid, what that's gonna cost.
I would
Yeah.
think that would be like a good first place to start before we go replacing all these pipes, is pigging them and seeing if that clears them out, like.
Depending.
But didn't
unless
he
it-
just say that that wasn't necessarily the greatest idea either?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Well,
think
not
that's
on
a.
whole pipe, I
I
mean.
mean, it sounds kind of like
That's all
a
you got.
Band-Aid.
I think, yeah, I
And
think
then
you're opening it more
But the
up.
Band-Aid could just blow as well, and then what?
And then you can't get a bill.
I mean, because if you do that, then
You're gonna have to pay to do that. and
Then
then
you're
you
you
have
could,
to
you could ruin the
pay.
pipes, yeah. I mean, so, I don't know if you wanna do that.
We can have places where
Go ahead.
I just know we need a proactive plan, because if we don't get something started, we're gonna have to be reactive, and that's not gonna be fun when this gets worse.
I agree with you.
Steph has a question.
So we wanna be proactive, and we wanna try to change out these mains and these things, but didn't somebody say that that's not necessarily gonna solve our problem, because we have natural contaminants in the water to begin with?
But the natural contaminants aren't an issue. The people think
The
they're
issue
an,
is the
I would
sediment.
guess the most
yeah,
of the stuff
people
in
think
Rogers
they're an
Yard,
issue, but the
magnesium.
real issue is
This is rotten
that.
pipes.
Yeah, that's the
I mean,
pipe,
that's
it's a
just-
pipe.
Those are rotten pipes.
I mean,
So
you cut
replacing
any
those
water line open in
pipes
town, it's gonna be full of black
Is
magnesium.
going to get rid of that
I
sediment.
have to.
That's what we're, I mean, I'm just trying to.
Yeah, that would
understand
be,
the purpose
that
of
would
it.
be it. The water would be the same water that we drink because those things are just in water. And if they were bad for us, they wouldn't let us drink it.
Okay,
Yep.
so we're just trying to clear out all that sediment and that brown color, and that's what replacing the pipes is going to do. The water itself, whether
It's
it's
gonna have the same
new
contaminants in
or
it.
old, is the same.
Yes, and it has, I mean, it has these things, as does all the groundwater everywhere. And so, like I said, the state puts this out after they've looked at our tests. They tell us, what are we looking at, and is it too bad? And it's not, it's,
How much buildup have you ever seen on water mains over your years?
You know better than I do, but, we've taken replaced 4-inch mains ourselves, and 4-inch mains, right? But they're about the size when you pull them out, like a number 2 pencil. That's about all you can get through them. And so if you scour them and we have directional flushing, you scour some of that rust and break it loose, you're gonna get discolored water. Sometimes you can't even run a pig through that 4-inch main because it's down to pencil size. And if your mains are as bad as I think they are, that's probably what you're gonna run into. And you know, but you're right, get an engineer, have him or her tell you how to proceed. Look maybe for a contractor, if that's truly what you guys wanna do, start picking some of these lines. And or if you replace 2 blocks of main, that's not gonna solve your problem initially, right? Cause there's other mains out there, you're gonna have a clean set of mains, but then the other ones are still gonna be bad. So it's ongoing, it's ongoing. But how long have the mains been in place now?
There's some of it's 110.
Okay, so at least with the new mains, we got another 110 years to go, right? So we're okay.
I'll still be here.
Okay, Mary?
I think what I noticed a few years ago when Dad and I moved out here, is we love to go camping. And we'd go to the park and it would be lovely. And then all of a sudden, they took money away from a lot of the parks and gave it to the bigger cities to maintain their parks. So.
Game and Parks, Mahoney State Park down there.
It's just the same game, it's the same thing that we're facing here with our pipes, is what I'm trying to say.
No worries, man, I agree.
Okay. Do we have any more questions on the water? We have some other people here for contracts that we need to talk to. But I don't want to cut anybody short. If anybody has anything, absolutely now's the time. That's what he's here for. And we greatly appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very
absolutely.
helpful, insightful.
I didn't say anything again. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all right. No, and I wanna thank all you nice people and stuff for coming out and voicing your concerns. I mean, this is what we do, right? Due process under the law, Constitution of the United States. So.
And I really do thank everybody for coming, because this is what we need to do. We need to pull together, we need to have these conversations in a positive way and not in a negative way. And this gives us a lot of information to look at, and I think that we do, obviously, as the city, need to look at these things. And we do need to make a plan, and we do need to get more serious about that. I agree 100%. But this is how we're gonna do that, is if we're all together. And we're not talking to your neighbor or whatever. This is where you need to come, and you need to ask the questions. This is why he's here, because this is factual information, and it's not the city conspiracy theory. This is real information, okay?
Yeah, the water's safe to drink, guys, boys and girls, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for the invite, everybody. Thank you. Get out of here. Thank you, Tony. If you have
Appreciate
questions,
ya.
you could call staff.
Yeah, just
He didn't say call him, did he?
I'll call me.
Thank you, Tony.
I want to say
Thank
one
you.
thing though.
Go ahead.
I hope you guys got something out of this. I really do. Because that man is a very intelligent man. I've known him for 10 years since I've been at the city, almost 11 years. And he does his best to make things work. And we've got, this came through Reese too, we've been proactive with these people. We'll volunteer information. If we're having trouble, we call him. If I've got questions, I call him. He's always open to answer my questions. So, hope you got something out of it.
It's awesome to have that support too, so appreciate it. Okay, we're gonna move on to the second thing on the agenda, so if any of you want to stay, great. If you want to leave, here's your opportunity. Completely up to you. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Hey, Joyce. Is it your time?
Yeah, it is.
See you later.
Neighbors.
Bye.
See you, can't wait.
Thanks for the coin.
Hey, man, I'll get you some more.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question on this data that comes out.
Yes.
Is it what comes out of the well? Is that separate test than?
Yes, tests are run every month, it comes out of a household. These tests come out of a well. So
What
at
about
that
the
point-
tests that come out of the?
All I do, yeah, they're different. I test for coliform on that.
That's
So-
Anheuser Distillery, John.
Huh?
That's Anheuser Distillery.
Yeah, that's actually well testing. It's right out the wells itself.
But I guess what's in the system, I guess in the house.
Yeah,
So I was wondering,
So you know,
what's in the well and
if
what's
they-
at the tap?
When they have me tested a well, they call it point of entry. Okay, so I tested the well. By the time it gets to your house, it's probably nothing. You know, I mean, because it goes through 7 miles of main. So.
Oh, no, you're
They
great.
have you
Thank you
test
very
this.
much.
You
Thanks
want to
for
know how many
coming.
parts per million on that?
Is there a public record?
Yeah, that's public, yeah, that's public right there, so, that's, all of them together. So,
Thank you very
we
much.
send those out every year, we're required by the
I
state.
remember that,
But I
but
am, I do.
I just what I was, is there a separate category, like, okay, this is a well, this tested.
Yeah, I've got those over at the office on the deal over there, because I check each well, whatever the state requires me to test on that.
Right, okay, I just wondering.
Yep. Thank you. Yep.
Okay, we're going to move on to number 2 of the agenda. That's approve or deny the contract for the NPPD for generation. Thank you guys for coming and waiting. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Who would like to go first?
You gonna go first?
No, you go
We've been flipping a coin for an hour, right?
Well, we
You're
can share
fine.
this one.
We'll share.
Mary, you want one? There you go.
Thanks.
Thank you.
While I'm passing stuff out.
Here, you read the book, and I'll read the pamphlet, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, for those of you who don't know, I'm Rick Nelson with Custer Public Power. What I just handed out was a whole lot of propaganda from NPD that I'll talk a little bit about. So we have been working for about 2 years. I won't drag this out very far, but I think it takes a little backstory. I think you've been involved a little bit in the capacity purchase, that's part of it. So we've been talking to NPPD, all the wholesale customers of NPPD have been talking to NPPD about a new wholesale power contract. What I passed out was it kind of recapsulates all the stuff that is gonna be in that new contract. Custer is going to sign that new contract. I believe the board has indicated that they're gonna sign it. So then that allows us to move forward with the capacity purchase with NPPD that you all have an agreement with. Part of that capacity purchase, and Chris will probably cover that, is our contracts then have to be aligned over that time frame. That's just the way NPPD does it. So we've brought to you a extension. I believe all we really did was change dates kind of. And again, we've been working on this for several years. Just a real quick backstory. So I don't believe NPPD's had a wholesale rate increase in the last 8 years. And the last at least 5 or 6 have had a PCA, a power cost adjustment, which is coming back to Custer. But then we pass it back to the city. So I think rates have been extremely good for the last 5, 6 years. There haven't been a lot of hiccups. I think over the next 6-year rate track, I think NPPD's looking at about 14%. I don't know if you see the headlines. There's a lot of load growth, not only in Nebraska, but throughout the United States. Large loads coming in, so it's causing some pressures to come up. And part of that is reflected in that 14%. I know there's people in the Panhandle that are looking at anywhere from 10 to 18% next year. And so what I see from NPPD is very good compared to their peers. One more thing to highlight, Tim, you're pretty close there. So there is what we call a ratio 88. That ratio 88 is
Seven?
That ratio tracks over 900 cooperatives and public power districts across the state. Their local power costs. NPPD last year, this year, is at about 12%. So 12% means that there are 88% of the public power districts and cooperatives out of that 900 pay more for electricity than Custer Public Power does across the United States. I think that's fair. I think that's a wonderful thing, and I think that's
testament to NPPD. And I just want to give you some background, talk a little bit about what's happening, what's going to be happening in the future, to set you up for a power or a capacity purchase agreement with NPPD. Any questions about that? I believe April sent over the
She sent over,
contract.
yep, yes.
All right. Chris, you want to go?
Sure. Thanks for having us. Chris Hager. I'm a wholesale account manager with Nebraska Public Power District out of Kearney. So the reason that we will see a rate increase of 14% over the next 6 years is because we're adding generation to Princeton Road Station. We're adding 750 megawatts of gas, RICE units and combustion turbines, and then also extending the license at Cooper Nuclear Station. NPPD owns an 850 megawatt nuclear plant down by Brownsville. So that generation, and then we've also got in the queue to build 750 more megawatts of gas generation down at Beatrice Power Station with combined cycles, combustion turbines down there. So adding generation to fulfill this load that we're seeing across the state, and plus preparing for planning reserve margin increases from the Southwest Power Pool, who runs the transmission operation in the 14 state footprint that Nebraska's in. They run the transmission system, make sure the lights come on. So we have to have enough generation to cover our peak plus this planning reserve margin. So right now it's at 16% in the summer, same in the winter. We're going up in the summer to 18%, but the winter is going to increase to 39%. So after Winter Storm Uri in 21, when we had to have rolling blackouts and stuff, Southwest Power Pool recognized that these small generators or gas generators don't always come online when they're called on. So now they're going to a performance-based accreditation where you need some more planning margins, and then plus we're asking folks with generators to do the reporting differently. So anyway, that's what this whole process is about, is we're borrowing money, bonding it out, want to spread it out over 30 years. The contract will be 35 years. So we can spread those costs out to have the least rate impact to customers while we do this. So that's the premise. So during the same time, we've got 10 towns that do capacity purchase agreements with NPPD. Sargent is one. It accounts for like 70 megawatts of power for NPPD. And we usually use it mostly for just capacity for our resource adequacy to fulfill our obligations in the Southwest Power Pool. We don't call on these guys a whole lot, but when we do, we need them to respond, and they have very well. So about a year ago, went through this process with Sargent and contracted the 2 units that were up and running and had already had the environmental protection on them and passed all that and got them contracted, and we're paying Sargent now like $85,000 a year for that capacity. So the new contract, which would go in effect the first of the year, would raise that capacity payment up 48%. It would go from $365 to $540 a kW for a kW per month. So about $125,000 a year the payment would go up to. But with that comes some performance stuff. The contract recognizes that the unit's got to run when we call on it. So if you're called on to run, the unit didn't run, you get docked forced outage, so you get docked for that percentage of time during the summer season or winter season, whichever you're in. So the capacity that NPPD gets to claim is less because of the way the reporting goes. So that criteria will be in play in this new contract to abide by Southwest Power Pool's rules for generation. But Tim and Jason and Gwenda and everybody's staying on top of it, and just got a new unit, or the old unit rebuilt. Yep. So we'll be adding another 399 megawatts, or kilowatts.
That'd
That'd be a big payment, so.
Nice job on that overall.
Yeah.
That's like putting a full double D.
So anyway, so, that payment will increase as soon as we get the paperwork done on that too. So I guess capacity purchase agreement recognizes, we worked with all 10 customers plus a consultant and worked through pricing, the accreditation process, looked at it from NPPD's viewpoint plus the customer's viewpoint. Took nearly a year, but we came out with a good contract that we feel good about. And Tim and Wenda and others were involved from the city listening in and participating in those meetings. So, with that, we would ask the board to support moving forward with the new contract and staying partners with NPPD on the generation, and we'll continue to pay for it. So when we call on the city to run, we get the capacity from, resource adequacy from Southwest Power Pool. That's where most of the value comes to NPPD. But then we also get the energy credits too. But NPPD pays the city the payment, and then we also pay for all the fuel that the city burns when they run. So the city's obligation is to keep them running and be there when we call on them. And so far, that's been working out quite well. But anyway. With that, it's pretty condensed, but after your hour-long water thing, I'm sure
It was important.
So-
We were waiting, so thank you.
Could I jump in
Yes.
just for a little bit more? There's some new members on the board, and I don't remember everybody being here the last time I talked about, why is Rick here and why is Custer Power here? Because this is basically our service territory, and the city of Sargent is within our service territory. That means that I can keep NPPD at an arm's length. There's one reason why I bring Chris, and that's so I can throw him under the bus. But, so why is Rick here? Because Custer doesn't really, whatever we get charged from MPPD for our wholesale power cost gets passed through to the city of Sargent. And so that's why I spent a lot of time talking about the wholesale power agreement, the costs that are coming up, because anything that happens with MPPD affects Sargent directly. And I just wanted to clear that up too, so that you all knew that this is kind of a pass-through for Custer. There's no margin in there to handle anything. I think it's a pretty good deal. So, any questions?
I have none. I think it's been great. Got a lot of stuff. What'd you say?
Did you read the contract? You see that $1,000 a month bonus for Tim in there?
That must have been a really fine print. I couldn't even get with my glasses on.
I think you listened to Tony too long.
Okay, so we will approve or deny the contract for the NPPD for generation.
I move to approve it.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion amongst council members? Roll call?
Sheets,
Yes.
Tobias,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
and Schneider.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm getting pretty good at that, Candid.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your confidence and working with you.
Appreciate your time.
It's a
You're
huge
welcome to-
asset.
You're welcome to stay. There's only a few more items.
Only a few?
Only a few.
And it's pretty calm. There's no more cook.
Oh, yeah, we were told that. That was
It's your lucky
relief,
day.
yeah.
It's your lucky day. Okay.
It was good.
You could be disappointed by that too, I'm not sure.
Thanks, you guys. Yeah,
Okay, the contract.
Thank you very much.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
It's separate. We'll do yours and that's next.
Yep, are you ready? Okay, contract with.
He's out of here.
We have the sticker.
Since you're here, we're gonna, you wanna talk about your contract, or we're gonna like tie this all
If you don't
together?
approve this one, then that one's null and void.
So we should have done the other way, huh?
Wait, we did her backwards.
That's all right, that's all right.
Okay,
Just like her declared.
I'll move to approve,
okay,
unless you wanna give another speech or something.
I think we,
I can talk all night.
I think you did great.
What do you know about water?
I second it.
Okay, any further discussion among council members?
No.
Roll call.
Marsh,
Yes.
Tobias,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yep.
Sheets.
Yes.
Thank you guys very much. I
Have a good
appreciate it.
night.
Thanks, good seeing you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna leave extra stuff here if anybody wants.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you guys for being patient. Okay. Approve or deny choosing a hauler for a tire recycle event.
You want to?
I'm filling out a grant to have a tire amnesty day on April 3rd, 26th.
Nice.
And I sent out a bunch of letters and we got 2 back. Butler County and the other one is Champlin out
Okay.
of Kansas. Personally, I recommend Champlin. They did it up north where I used to live and they're really good.
The rates look like they were the same,
They are
so,
exactly the same.
Okay.
And with that grant, you have to take the lowest one, so that don't matter, but
okay.
But you've had experience with this one, so you have nice things to say
I
about it.
have friends that had
Okay.
experience with them, yes.
You got a question? You gonna have that here in town?
Yes,
Okay, yep. Where are you gonna have it?
we don't know exactly,
Okay.
but by that lot, by the medical clinic, we were thinking maybe?
That's a good idea.
Do you realize how many tires that Nick Kozel has?
It's gonna be a really good stack, yeah.
So, okay,
mean,
I think it's a great idea.
The spot can be moved, I mean,
yeah,
that's not,
okay.
Minor detail.
yeah, minor.
Would you only accept like as much as would fit on a trailer then? Is that
Oh,
how that works?
depending on what they grant us, it could be like 50 ton, is what small towns, the other ones have been getting. So probably 50 tons, and sorry, you can't.
Wow.
You can't
Hey, but you can bring them to my yard and you can have a little bit.
But, yeah, and then
Like
once
my
we
tray
get to the
here.
50, we just shut it off. So,
Awesome, well, thank you for
I
working on
think,
that.
yeah, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah. Then we'd know.
I better ask, or we should ask, maybe.
Okay, approve or deny using Champlin tire recycling, so she can further on with that and get the details lined up for April of 2026.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All right, any further discussion among the council members?
Do I get to unload first?
Oh, I don't
Get
think.
the help.
Roll call, sorry.
Tobias,
Yeah.
Tobias.
Yes.
Schneider,
Yep.
Sheets,
Yes.
Marsh.
Yes.
Okay.
Do I get to?
Number 5, approve or deny appointing Tim Liebert to the airport board. Tim attended the meeting the other night, had some exciting stuff, or maybe Gator's watching over us, he was very excited about the hangar, and him and Randy can tell you there's hopefully some exciting stuff gonna happen at the airport. And Tim would like to be a part of that, to fill the spot for Gator.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Tim.
Roll call?
Tobias,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yep.
Sheets.
Yes.
Okay, number 6 is to approve or deny the micro, I'm not sure I even know.
TIF.
Microchip.
What is that project? I'm not sure.
That project is Hometown Hotel for Mike
Oh,
and
that was
Jan
hers. Okay.
Osborne.
I remember you telling me about it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
When I made these, I didn't have any information. The lawyer emailed me this afternoon and said that he would tell city council that it would be an okay thing to do. We would need to pass a resolution, and he sent me the resolution this afternoon. And the resolution would be 25-6, and it just says, whereas the hotel is in a blighted part of our city, and it meets all the requirements that the state statutes say it has to meet, that it would be a good investment for the city and the owners of the property.
Okay,
And a
so-
safe one, too.
So what is the project though? Like, was that a grant? Is that a grant? Is that TIF thing a grant?
Go ahead, Jan, do you wanna?
Is it a grant? Is that what it was? Like something like that?
No, it's not really a grant. It's, so it's called tax increment financing, and, this is an expedited because of the size of the community and the project. It can run through a little bit quicker. So, I requested a certain amount based on what Sherry Bryant, and Lana, I think, in the office at Custer County. Because basically what our property is worth currently, taxes for 15 years, even when it gets finished, will stay at that amount, okay?
Okay.
And so, I'm not the expert on this, but, however, we will continue to have to make payments. We'll pay to the Custer County, and they will then send it to, so basically what we are hoping for is a loan from the city, whether they go through a bank or, whatever, for that amount, and then over the 15 years, you would get back, the difference between what it's currently worth and what it will be worth at that time. And so, but the one thing, like the school and the, all those places that the money goes to, I think they, for 15 years, wouldn't get that, if that makes sense.
Like where the taxes would normally go?
Right.
Their taxes would be the same value of what they are now, even though the hotel would be paying twice as much. That would go to pay off their note.
Yeah.
How much money are you asking for?
It was $135,000.
Basically, to get it finished and up and running, is that kind
Oh,
of?
no, that's just.
That's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, much of the confidence.
That's just what, I worked with them to try to calculate over 15 years, the difference in taxes.
So for you, it's pretty much just tax.
Right. Yeah.
While you're working?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand from this.
Well, hopefully, I mean, the idea is that we would finish fairly soon, and so there would be a jump in what it's worth quickly.
Okay.
But I was hoping, that they would, cause I said, we've not done it, and the city's not done one before, and so I was hoping they were gonna, give you.
He will help us. He sent the resolution as to
Okay.
what that would be.
Okay.
And he will, whether he realizes it or not, he will be by our side this whole adventure.
The one issue, it's a really small form, and the one issue, I just didn't know what they were asking for, and so, anyway, but they did ask for all of our, every expense, the estimate, and, so I got that to them, and they wanted to be sure that the city, they weren't gonna give us that money and then, we'd use it to go on vacation or whatever. They wanted to see what that money is gonna be going to, and I said.
No more to the lake.
Okay, so I would say that we just need to postpone this then until next month. Is that gonna be okay with you guys? So that we can get all of that and we can do, if we need to do the bond, or the ordinance, right? Is that what you said?
Resolution. It was a
Resolution, I'm sorry.
resolution.
Well, I guess I don't know, whatever did he say?
We'll have to do a resolution, correct?
Yes, we have to do a resolution.
And that's not something that can be done tonight, is that what you're saying?
No, it's not on here.
Oh,
A resolution isn't.
The resolution is on here. We don't have any issues. Is it, if,
No, we
do
didn't.
we need to do
tried.
something special for
Wanted to.
you? Like, are you needing
Just
this
didn't-
before next month? I
it
guess
was
is what I'm
too
asking
big
you.
for us.
I gotta make sure that this is done correctly. so
We
that-
never
Yeah,
got
no,
to that
I
point, cause
agree.
we just,
I just
it
didn't
was
know
huge.
the process,
See
so,
how it's worded.
no, I mean, I'm getting close. It's
We
just
can
that
move-
then the
move
paperwork
forward with it.
that goes on to this other, for another loan, so that I can get this
Right.
done, it has at the
You're waiting
bottom,
on
that
that.
135,000.
Okay.
It will just look better if, but, you know, what's another month? So-
Well, are you sure? Cause we can't have a special meeting. We can do something really
Well,
quick
why don't
over
you
lunch.
just find out what,
Okay.
I mean, I want you to understand the process too, I
Okay.
don't want you to just say, you know, I want you to understand what you're agreeing to, so I think more time might be better, and maybe having someone come in from another town that has done it. We did that was a long time ago, and, it's been a while, so it might be good to have somebody, I know Broken Bow's done it, you know, there's other communities that have done it that I think it would be better anyway if you understood it better.
Would it be beneficial if we just passed the motion to say, yes, we will proceed to gather more information, or
I don't know that you'd need to.
or
just
to move
add-
forward
For
with it?
you, I think.
I didn't know if it would benefit you
No, that's
and
the
your
thing.
process.
I mean, I believe that you would agree with the attorney, whatever they say, if they feel like it works, you know?
So the repayment of the loan that we take out in the city of Sargent's name,
It would come every 6 months or every year, depending on how often that tax payment was made.
the repayment of the loan,
Because it would come from, I think it would come to you from the courthouse, the treasurer. But again, I really am not I don't know how it works on that end. So I feel like it might be better, I was hoping they were gonna send her with information and, you know.
yeah, let's see who we can get to maybe come next
Okay.
month. And,
We'll see if you will, sure.
And, you know, then you'd have the resolution, and if you felt more comfortable with it, then you could make a decision. But I think it's called expedited, so you wouldn't have to do it like 4 months in a row or whatever.
you don't have to
I
have
see what you're
3
saying.
You know,
readings.
It's called expedited for that purpose. I think it's supposed to be fairly a quick process, so. Anyway,
Okay.
but yeah, I think I would want more information if I were in your spot.
All right, so we will just move to table this,
Table sounds great.
okay.
I'm so confused on that now.
Okay, I
We'll
need a
table it till
motion,
that,
please.
we'll table it till
We're
September,
supposed to go with it, okay.
Somebody,
second.
okay?
My first
Any
take
further
back.
discussion on council members? Roll call.
Schneider,
Yep,
Tobias,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Sheets.
Yes.
Okay, so the last thing we have is our utility bills. So this isn't really an action item, so to speak, but an opportunity for anybody to talk about that. We had some issues, on June and July, where we had the handhelds that crashed, and then we got new ones. I think they came to the office. It's new power manager system, correct, that we have. And so, not 100% sure, but think that, you know, our estimation wasn't the answer. That didn't help. But also not sure why the taxes were higher on that. We're hoping they're willing to work with us. When we read again, if we see anything on any bill, they'll come in and they'll help and they'll look at the system and see if there's something within the system, if there's a glitch with that system. I think that'll be important. I think that if it has to be, if I have to learn how to do that, and the 4 of us, or 5, or however many it takes, I mean, my goal, I guess, for all of you is that we look at each individual bill before we send it out this time. And that we look at those bills and we look back on, see what happened last month, make sure that they got read this month okay, and we get everything caught up. Because so some of you, if you did pay that and you paid more of the sales tax, we're going to have to go through those as well. And we're going to have to make sure that we give you a refund back on your utility bill for over taxes. Because you would have been taxed twice on some of those, so, right? I mean, is that kind of what we decided that needs to be done?
On my bill and Paige's, she spent like an hour, figured hers out, and she said she was paid double for the meter rent, that $13.50 that went to her RE, or the electric bill, plus the tax was wrong. But I don't understand, because I went in before this.
One second, who?
Paige, my daughter, she was trying to figure out her bill.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part.
And she figured out that she was charged the $13.50 for the rent on a meter reading, or the meters. I guess we have to pay $13.50 for meters
There's a
each
meter
month.
charge.
Huh?
Meter charge.
There's a
Okay.
$13.50 meter charge.
Yeah, she was charged twice. She
For
paid
that?
it last month, and then she had to pay twice this month. So that was hers, plus the sales tax was wrong. But there's also a problem, because I went in and got a printout for my whole year.
Mhm.
It does not match last month's bill that I paid.
Last month's they estimated.
No, not on
No.
electricity. They estimated the water.
Everything on.
No.
Yours, Kyla, on the reader on him, when Jason reads your route, it held. His system didn't crash. Mine, I call it routes 2 and 4 I read. That's pretty much all west. That whole system over there crashed. So my bill was right except for the tax. Because that side held it. I was double taxed on mine. So everything on basically on this side of town, basically from 2nd Street all back over in here, held. It downloaded. But my side didn't, so we estimated it. And that's how things kind of got misconstrued, or Mr. Power Matter didn't like it, or however.
But how come my yearly printout is different than my bill from
I have no idea.
Yeah, my monthly
Yeah.
bill.
So,
Yeah, it'll get looked at, Patty, and we'll get it fixed.
Okay.
However,
But there
I mean,
is- But our bills aren't right? Half of ours.
well, mine wasn't either, so,
No,
because I'm on that
but
side
she
of town.
said, she's been telling my mom that that bills are paid, they're fine, they're okay, and they're not. And so,
Well, definitely there is an issue, and there
Thank
not.
you.
There is not.
Yeah.
There is an issue, and it just depends. Some are fine, some are not fine. Some have more water. So, like I said, I intend to be involved in that process. If we have, I think that the best solution is that we literally sit down and we go through each and every one of those. And if Tim needs to reread, he's going to reread.
I'll read it,
If
no
Jason
problem.
needs to do that, he will do that. I mean, we're here, we wanna get it corrected. It's very unfortunate. I wouldn't wanna pay more. I mean, and this is a horrible time of year. I'm not sure there's any great time of year
No, I know
to
that.
have an extra $300 on your bill. But school starting, all the things, I get it. And I wouldn't want that. We all budget, you're not budgeted for that. And so we just wanna make it right. And if we have to call
Yep.
the people in who have the software, you know, that's what we're gonna do. But we're gonna figure it
I was just gonna tell you
out.
about how there's 3 different.
3 different things. And I appreciate that, cause I know
'Cause I
that some
just
of them, the
discovered
water
that
was a
one.
lot higher, the
So
taxes.
it was water and electric that was,
yep,
Okay.
yours was on my route. You
Yeah.
got estimated.
yeah, okay.
'Cause everything was
Estimate
crashed. I
water
mean, it was-
and electric,
Yep.
okay. I didn't know.
And I think we did learn too, so just knowing in the future, going forward, if I have anything to do with this, Tim has anything, we're not gonna estimate anymore, okay? Going forward, we will never estimate,
If your
so,
light bill's late, it's gonna be
Yes.
late. That's all there is to it. I'm not gonna estimate.
and so we will, I mean, we'll put it in there when it does all of that stuff. we'll put a note in there, and if we're like 5 days later or whatever, you guys are gonna be 5 days later to pay that bill, okay?
But the bill will probably be 5 days more expensive.
We'll give you a grace period on that or whatever, but we wanna make sure they're right, so that we don't have any of this, okay? And so we apologize for the system and all the things, it was just, it happens, and technology is
Well,
great
yeah,
until it's
I
not
know
great.
that, it was just the idea that
Yes, Miss Mary?
On my bill, and I pay budget, so I don't really know anything other than there was an issue. Why does it say that it's May to the end of the billing date?
Because I finalized on my computer, and for some reason it didn't talk to the other computer that we printed bills off. And so the June bill, last billing date that the computer thought was finalized was in May. So that's why it says for 2 months, May, June, and July.
So you are going through them now, 'cause I track mine yearly too.
So is there
I
any
can
way
go
you
on.
could print out there, if there's a credit, the ones that's on budget?
It
The,
No?
the standard is,
On the bills.
it says balance forward, that's what the program has in it. We could just cross that out and put a credit.
Well, I'm not on budget anymore, but, you know, some of them, because mine got all screwed up a year ago. But like my mom, she has no idea if she has a credit or a bill. She just pays the same thing.
Yeah, we can do that.
I just mean, older people are getting, they don't understand, they owe.
Well, maybe, it may be in that situation rather than.
Mary, Mary, did you know that was
wow, you better be careful.
I'm
the problem?
I'm talking about my mom. You know, she gets older and
No, but I think. I guess we can look at that, but I guess my thought process is too that I don't really want to see like messing of the system or crossing
Well,
out
that's
balance
true.
forward or anything like that. I think maybe be more clear even to your mother or whatever, is there's actually a piece of paper in there that states that this is your balance forward or this is your credit or whatever, rather than messing with
I know
it.
that's a lot of work. I just thought maybe you could do it on
Well,
the
she's gonna know
program.
what it is, I mean, it's.
Be a
but I
good
think-
daughter and help your mom out, just explain it to her.
I can't even keep track of my own. It's,
Yes. So, we do apologize for that, and it wasn't, I mean, an unfortunate thing. So we do wanna make it right, and going forward, we wanna make that right, so. Thank you for bearing with us, and if any of your neighbors, whatever, have questions, or they don't think that's right, Tim, Jason, anybody will read them, so. It is available, nobody says they won't read them, they will read them, so. Okay, anything else? Appreciate all of you coming. Okay, so, what do we got, supervisor reports?
Yes.
Okay, Gwenda.
Well, we had the mess up with utility billing, which everybody knows about. We've talked to Lincoln about that. The valuations have not come out yet, so I have not done anything with a budget. Waiting for valuations to see what that is. Our tax rate will not go up from what it was last year, just because of valuations and everything in the formulas in the budget program. If it's sloppy writing, it's because I broke my wrist and I'm writing left-handed. So if you get anything that I have to write, it's gonna look funny.
I thought it was my kid that wrote
I thought it was one of her grandkids. When is the budget due? When is it?
Well, it'll have to be published here within, it'll have to be in the paper by the week of the 25th. So when I get all the figures by the 15th, I'll finish it and send you guys, let you guys know what the tax levy will be and the tax axing and stuff. So we'll budget for water mains, streets, what?
A mower.
A mower,
We're gonna-
yes.
We're gonna have to buy it.
The tractor mower or like?
Tractor mower.
Well, I'm gonna take the
tired.
and all that fun stuff, all that fun stuff.
Well, I think it's been fixed.
Thank you, Glenda.
That's correct, and it's also.
I'm having a hard
because
time
you
getting
can't get the
And hopefully my
parts for it.
kids aren't
That's
riding
why-
next month.
Cause we didn't go through that last year, and did
It was
Marty,
legible. Yeah.
Monty, did he make a part for it, or was that something else?
No, he did some work for it, yeah. Lonnie did.
Yep, so.
Hey, Tim, you're up.
So.
Beats the lamb fried though.
It does. Am I next?
You are,
All
you're
right.
up.
So far, let's see, we've been patching some streets, filling some holes in. Did a little bit of electrical update over on Sixth Street, got rid of all the split bolts and clamped everything down, so we don't have issues. We got hold of Rob Dockweiler, he's gonna take care of the park for a couple applications, see if we can get it to look a little prettier.
Good.
He's gonna do one here in August and one in October for the fall, and might contract with him after the first of the year, before
Great
3 months,
idea.
we'll have to see what it is.
Mhm.
Oh, God, what else? Oh, we're marking out, marking some more stuff for GIS, so they get our stuff located. I broke the town in a little bit more smaller chunks, so I could get something done during the day, then I could mark them at, like a half a day of marking, so. There's quite a few I can't find. The maps are just so great. No measurements. I've got about 3 of them I can't find, so. But we'll find them sometime or another when it starts leaking.
You got a backhoe, right?
Yeah, I can find it all day. Yes, I do.
Cause he knows how to use it.
That's how you use it.
When it starts leaking, we'll find them. Other than that, I'm just plugging along, trying to get stuff ready.
Good job.
You guys have done a great job, and I also wanna say that this is on me, I completely forgot with the, utility bills and all of the things that have been going on in this community in the last 30 days. I did ask Tim, and I would like you to help me remember exactly what it says, because it was very upsetting, and there's been a lot in 30 days, but anyway. It's very disappointing. Part of what I wrote in the city letter was due to, there is a sign that was put at the pool. So I'd like you to share all this, because I screwed up and I should have done it when Tony was here. Would you like to tell them what you found at the pool? Because it's the person who did it is the ignorant person, and it's very heartbreaking that somebody did that. And if you know anybody that did that, I hope that you will let them know that I think they're probably the most ignorant person, and so it's
The sign
it's
was
sad.
handwritten
It's very sad.
on 2 pieces of 1x10, and it said closed due to ignorance.
So that's the disappointing to me, as a community, then that's the way that we decide to go. And then I've had a ton of people outside of this community ask me about, hey, what can we do? Hey, did you contact this person? You could do this or do that, or maybe, try or whatever. So there's been a lot of good that has also come out of it, and a great ideas and not giving up. But then within our own community, when we do those kinds of things to each other and we put up signs like that, that's super disheartening, and we're not gonna solve anything by that kind of attitude or allowing those people to lead. And so I feel like it's really important that we rally more than anything. And so maybe it wasn't the way I wanted it, or you wanted it, or whatever, but that doesn't mean that we pit against each other, and that doesn't mean that we have to have all this strife. We can come together and we can look for different solutions and see what we can do to bring, a park into the community or whatever. And, it's just a slap in everybody's face, that kind of thing. And then Tim has to read it. This doesn't solve anything, absolutely nothing. And if you look at other communities around us, they're making things happen. I mean, Ansley looks nice, Loop City looks nice. It doesn't matter where you go, communities are looking nice. And they don't get there by the answer of no. No, we can't. Or we tried that, it doesn't work. I understand that, but at the same time, we have to be more on the same page instead of worrying about bickering with our neighbor or taking in what somebody says as gospel because somebody says that our water's terrible. To me, common sense goes a long ways, and the state's not gonna allow us to do those things. So you are allowing somebody to come in and say these things to you. The only way we can get stirred up is if we allow those kinds of words. Yes, ignorance to take over for us, and it's super sad. So,
Can I hand these out? I was hoping to get them to you.
yeah,
Speaking
absolutely,
of-
go ahead.
Speaking of that.
I'm done,
Okay.
but I just wanted
I know
everybody to
you're
know that
not-
there was a sign there, and those are the kinds of things that have happened, and so.
I know you're not completely done, but I would love for, city,
To be there, I think it's
to
great.
be
Thank
here.
you.
I don't need one, I got one, I can
Okay.
pass it out.
If anybody else.
And the lady, on that note also, and the lady that we had at the chamber was excellent.
Oh.
Absolutely enjoyed her. It was
Great.
great. I thought she was great, anyway, my opinion.
Can they go?
Yep. Mick, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I went to the landfill meeting in Elba. It was on July 17th. I go there every month on the third Thursday, unless they change it. I've been appointed by the mayor and the city council to be your representative on that council. And it's a very thriving business. One man's trash is another man's treasure. And what we will see is that in the last couple of months, the tonnage has been down. It would just amaze you at the material that is brought to a landfill. And one of our largest contributors was a meat processing plant out of Grand Island. And for whatever reason, they have really shut down and aren't processing as many cattle and hogs as they were. And so that material is not being brought there right now. You can imagine how enjoyable that would be to spread that out and cover that up with dirt and trash every day. So I'm glad somebody else works there. But, we are making money, and we will continue to do that. We have a new project where that we are recycling steel and copper out of where we can get it. They have a huge backhoe with a giant magnet on that, and when they get it in a load of material, then they run that magnet over that material, and it'll shoot those pieces of steel out of there like arrows. It is phenomenal. And so we take it over, we dump it in a huge dumpster. The guys from Grand Island pick it up, take it down, weigh it, send us a check. So now we're building a new building, they're gonna be doing every load inside. And so this will be an additional form of income for the landfill. Not only are we covering up trash, but recycling is an interesting thing. You know, I hate to break the news to you, but all that stuff you take down here and put in that trailer goes to Broken Bow, goes to the transfer station. Every stack of it. Go ahead and keep doing it, because it's a nice place to keep track of it. But none of that's recycled. Not 1 ounce of it. And the reason it isn't is because nobody can make money off of it. They used to send that by the shipload to Beijing. If those people can't make money off of it, nobody can. And so they don't do that anymore. But we are making money off of the steel. And whenever we get a trailer house in, you'd be surprised how many of them they just bring down there on a trailer and unload. We rip all the copper wire out of it, and if there's a copper pipe, we get that out. They get that out there manually. So the copper and the steel is worth a great deal. There's one other thing I want to talk to you about, and that's lithium-ion batteries. They are everywhere. They're in your telephone, they're in your computer, they're in every device you own. They are very, very dangerous. We have 2 fires every week in that landfill from the bow mag running over them and crushing them and breaking the seal, the shell on them, and they catch on fire. You cannot put it out. You have to pull it, have to get a big backhoe, drag it off out into the dirt, and let it burn itself up. So you need to be really careful with that stuff in your own home. They're very, very dangerous. There are new laws that are being enacted now. The state of Nebraska has done this, but there's going to have to be collection centers for those batteries. And they're in your handheld drills and your saws and your tools and your, believe it or not, there is one of those little batteries in every one of those little electric cigarettes that people smoke. And occasionally, and this might be kind of funny to watch, someone will bring like a box of them that they have smoked up and are done. And they'll bid it in the trash, and they'll run over with that bow mag, and there'll just be like firecrackers going off in there. So they're tiny little things, but they all ignite, and they're very hot. Sometimes those will get a big enough fire going, they have to drag it out of the way too. The shoes that your little kiddos wear that sparkle when they run, guess what?
Give new batteries.
They're in. Isn't that amazing? And it's allowed, and it's perfectly okay, because that's how the else will get in. So in our agenda here, we renewed our alarm insurance. Believe it or not, they are the only company that will insure a landfill. Nobody else will touch a landfill. They're the same company that insures Sargent, Burwell, everywhere with alarm, and it went up a little bit, and it's going to. So we renewed our alarm insurance plan again. We have a huge $1 million called a BOMAG. It is a machine that we run over the trash and compact it. So we have fires all the time. Someone had the great idea, I wonder if it would get stuck and you couldn't get it out of there and it would catch on fire. Oh, $1 million machine. So we bought a $38,000 suppression system to put on the BOMAG. I'm telling you, the guys on this board are county commissioners and city managers and some volunteers like myself, but especially county commissioners. I am telling you what, those boys do not like spending money. And it's just the way they are. And it's good. We discussed probably for an hour and a half. I never knew there could be so many questions. And they all knew what the answer was going to have to be. You either protect this $1 million machine or you don't. How smart do you have to be to figure that out? But we finally got it done. And then we had our manager evaluation. It was very positive. He is a very, very fine manager, and he does really well with especially keeping the Burwell transfer station open. There was a lot of controversy a number of years ago about keeping that open because there's some hard feelings. And so I'm just going to tell you a little story about that. I've always got a story. You just can't get away from it. There were some people in the organization that wanted to close it because they just didn't like it. And finally, we got it resolved. It was going to stay open. And I asked this guy, when we went out to the meeting, what in the world was the deal that you were so adamant about closing that? Well, he said, I'll tell you what, those damn Simpsons screwed me out of a baseball game in 1962, and I'm not going to let it go. I happened to be playing in that baseball game, and yes, they did. But that doesn't have much to do with today. And I said, you're going to have to let that go. You're just going to have to let that go. Because there's a lot of important stuff happening with that transportation. That's where most of the people from the dam bring their stuff. And they pay more at the railroad transfer station than they do anywhere else. Because that's the way it is. So anyway, things are going well. We're making money. We will have this new building done probably by October. And that's the name of that tune. Thank you, Mel.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mick.
Anybody else have anything? Motion to close.
Move.
Second. Is this?
Any further discussion?
No.
Roll call?
Schneider?
Yep.
Sheets?
Yep.
Yes.
Tobias,
Yes.
and Marsh.
Yes.